Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Voice of Yamato, episode something. We're going to talk about Fnatic and anything that you guys can think of, or what I can think of. As always, this is an ad-free experience. If you want to support the stream, do so, I don't know, by subscribing on Twitch or something. Because I know a lot of people listen to this while they go to bed, you know? This is I make sure that you don't get awoken by some crazy noise, you know, some crazy ad. I don't want you guys to go through that. You can also listen to this on Spotify most of the time. Sometimes I forget uploading it because, as you all know, this is the most scuffed podcast that you've ever seen. If you look at the layout of it, it's like, what the fuck is going on? There's like so much darkness on the screen, wasted space, but I waste no space in other things in life. But let's just get to it. Our roster is officially announced. We're no longer going to be working with Bwipo, Adam, and Niski. You know, it's always bittersweet. Not bittersweet, it's just bitter. Well, it's also kind of sweet, you know. I don't know how to describe the taste of the situation, you know, because always in any off season you have to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest with what you believe is going to give you the best odds. You have that obligation to the players that you want to build around, and you have that obligation to the money that is involved. You have that obligation to Europe. You have that obligation to anything that is going on. And you know, that's a harsh reality. You know, that's why it's tough to be a pro player. It's tough because there is very little certainty, and sometimes from your perspective, your situation, maybe you will deem it as unfair, you know? You will deem it as unfair. And not a lot of things in life are fair because there's too many things in play that you're not in control of. And with the changes that occurred, I fully support them, you know. It's just in my mind, you know, looking at the top laners that I was intrigued by was like Wunder was a super target, you know. Wunder for me has such a high peak, and I know from speaking to him that coming into this season he is going to be more hungry than ever, and I know how well he can function in a team environment that just, you know, feeds off of his energy. And there's a lot of, you know, memes that have run rampant, but that was the risk that G2 took in terms of how they branded themselves, right? It's like G2 was always the team that was memeing a lot and having a lot of fun, and, you know, there was the memes about World of Warcraft and Wunder and so forth. And when G2 was winning, you know, no one cares about those memes, but sometimes, you know, it extends to a certain point where people believe that the meme is the reality, but it really isn't. You know, Wunder is an absolute machine. You know, Wunder was number one prior for me. Like Wunder is really, really insane. You know, it's like how everything played out. We got the number one priors for ourselves, you know. There was conversation about the Perks Alfari combo, but I'm really fucking happy, you know? Really, really fucking happy. It's like Humanoid has improved and played insanely well. And I'm just excited because, you know, we have a team and a roster where we have players from all of the best European teams from the last years, you know? And I am so happy with how the offseason played out, because in my mind, Humanoid and Wunder is better, you know, than anything, you know. That was just the top end, you know. It's just with the movement of how things play out in off season, you know. It's like Alfari and Perks want to join the same team pretty much, and Wunder having the possibility to get out of G2 was so unclear, you know. We didn't know how the fuck it played out, but we managed to, you know, make a deal in the end, and it makes me so fucking happy. It's so hard always because you're always faced with time pressure because there's so many things that are moving. It's like you go to sleep 8 months. I'm not 8 months. You go to sleep 8 hours, right? And you wake up, and all of a sudden, maybe 5 teams made some fucking big moves, and maybe some options will close, right? So that thing is always a very spooky aspect of the off season. I want to also say thank you to Nyan Ruby for gifting 4 tier 1 subs. I appreciate it. That is a grand total of 12 cheeseburgers that I'll be able to eat in a moment in time where maybe I will not be able to eat healthy food. So I have 12 cheeseburgers. Thank you very much. I'm super happy about how the off season went, you know. Just like for those that are in some shape or form doubtful of Wunder, is just that this man has played at such a high level for so long that he has created so much credit for himself for many years to come. G2 last year, and not only for G2 but teams that face issues. You know, it's such a team game where your psychology changes depending on what your team situation is, and maybe you're going to play a certain way or give a certain amount of energy into the situation based of how you perceive things. And G2, you know, everyone was struggling on that G2 roster last year, and it is completely unfair to pinpoint a specific part, because it was plain and simple that dynamic that they've built up with Wunder, Jankos, Mickey, and Caps, it just had ran its course. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's too difficult to reinvent yourself in a situation. Maybe you need to reinvent yourself, but it's very difficult because things are so set in stone. You're set in your habits, you're set in your ways in regards to how you are in a team and in an environment. So keep in mind, this G2 roster was active for a very long time, right? 2019, 2020, and 2021. It's very rare you see teams being the same for such a long time. Of course, they changed Reckless for Perks. I mean, Perks for Reckless, which changed it a little bit, but the core part of the dynamic, it's like Reckless isn't the personality to change a dynamic completely and pull people along with him, you know? He's more of like an addition to what's going on. And that's why, you know, in the context of G2, it's very unfair to point fingers. Mickey was a problem, Caps was a problem. No. Those are 5 really fucking good players. And those are 5 players that can definitely compete for, you know, the top position in their position. I just tried to find a way to phrase it where I didn't say position twice, but I just couldn't find it. Ask Robin, thank you very much for your prime. That's 3 cheeseburgers in the bank. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So Mickey being teamless is very disappointing, you know. Reckless and K-Corp, Jankos and Caps still very dangerous on G2, you know. And of course Wunder. Like Wunder, for me, keep in mind, there's so many changes that can happen within a season, and Wunder is meta-proof. This is a man this is the type of player that you want to have coming into a new season, because you don't know what's going to be coming your way. He's just an elite player, and I'm so fucking happy that we signed him. You know, Ivan Razork, like you guys know him as Razork, but I call him Ivan. Ivan, I don't know how to say it the Spanish way. Ivan Drago. You know, he has such a good attitude, you know. For me, you know, if you look on an unbiased view, I believe that the situation is, you know, the jungle position. You know, last year I felt like Whipple was the best performing jungler, you know. And that is in a situation where, you know, he just role swapped and dominated the position. I think he did super well against Inspired. That's a player that people hype up. You know, I think he played better than Elioya in the finals against Mad Lions. We just couldn't capitalize because Mad Lions was just a way better team. And what I'm trying to say is that the position jungle is definitely something that is for the taking, you know? So for me, it's all about attitude. Like how are you going to approach it? And with the little time that I've spent with Ivan, who's going to be, you know, a lot more coming into the season, he's been showing me that he has the right attitude to become the best player in his fucking position, you know? He's a very, very hard worker, very good attitude, has a very good vibe about him, you know? Very, very socially, you know, nice, which is super, super important. And Humanoid, you know, Humanoid is just so smooth. Like the way he plays is so smooth. Like mechanically how he moves is just smooth. Like how he hovers, good overview of the game, pays attention to all key pieces, and can give like good pieces of information within the game. I think like, you know, Humanoid is just a fantastic player. Like I'm so happy with the roster, and I think Hillian and Elias, they of course speak for themselves. I think they are the best bot lane in Europe. I think they were so last year too, and I think they will just continue to dominate. They are warming up right now. They are a bit rusty, but that's good, you know, which means that they rested up, because after such a year, it's important to rest up, and it's important to miss the game a little bit. So we're going to be going to Berlin, 2nd of January. We're going to do some content with Pete, and we're going to just go rock and roll in the scrims. We're going to use December to ease into it, you know, and we're going to slowly start up and make sure that everyone is in tip-top shape coming into the next year. And that's the goal of what we're doing right now. Someone asked me if we were trying to get Cabo over Wunder. Well, basically, in my mind, how it went was Wunder over Cabo. And the issue was that, you know, negotiating with G2, you know, negotiating for a player that is under contract with anyone, really, I don't want to say just G2, it can become very difficult, you know. It's like a lot of, like, you can't put yourself in a position where you're in danger and so forth, and Cabo was a free agent at the time, and it was a player that we pursued because it came with a little bit more safety than the risk that we needed to take in order to get Wunder, right? And eventually, you know, the Wunder played out, so everything played out really, really well from us, from our side. And Cabo would be a player that I would be excited to work with too, because I have history with him as well. But I think, you know, in the end, how it played out is really fucking good. I'm so happy how it played out. Like it couldn't have played out better. You know, the conclusion of what we have now. It couldn't have played out better for us, I think. But I'm incredibly happy, very, very satisfied. And Cabo is going to continue to do work on K Corp. You know, they have big plans. Like they are really, really making it. You know, they are really, really understanding the value of the right people. So I'm happy for Cabo too. You know, he's a very good friend of mine. Cabo commented that he chose K-Cup over Fnatic. Is this true? Well, that's true, yeah. But in the end, it played out the best way possible for everybody, you know? But it did. I think K-Cup really, really made them feel valued, and I think that's important. It's kind of different when you know. It's like the situation is, it's like, oh, they're choosing to work with me due to the fact that they couldn't find, you know, a deal at the time with a player that they believe is better than me. So, you know, it's a question of, you know, I know what's important for Cowboys, that he feels valued about from the team end, and I think K-Corp definitely give him that, and I think. You know, in the end, I reiterate, you know, the way it played out, I'm so happy. It couldn't have played out better. I think some of the things that we tried to pursue due to fears about how the offseason is going to play out and so forth, I think this was, you know, the ideal situation for us, you know. It definitely is. Like, I genuinely feel I have players in each position that can become the best in their position. Opposite and Humanoid are two strong personality, or you're not afraid that they don't get along. You need to have a strong personality to get far. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's important, you know, on my end, what's important always in any team that I work with is to always highlight the things that build bonds between one another, like what connects them. You know, most families are bound by blood, but we are bound by a goal that we all want to achieve, right? And in that, each player needs to take ultimate responsibility for one another, and at the same time, you know, look at their teammates and really put in effort to build bridges between one another. No matter what two people you're going to have, whether they mesh well together, mesh bad together, you know, there's always a way. There's always a way if you try hard enough. Because most conflicts come from misunderstandings. Because everyone comes in with different experiences, different perspectives of that same experience, and it's important to highlight those differences and to not be afraid of those differences. Talk about those differences. Realize that in those differences, if you work together to figure them out, lies improvement, right? So in that, it's, you know, whether there's a strong personality, bad personality, strong personality, tougher personality to work with, I don't care. There's always a way. There's always a way. And from any challenge comes possibility. So strong personality or not, I'm not worried about any of these factors, because I know for a fact that I have 5 players that want to fucking win, that want to become the best, and that's the only thing that I need, you know? That's the only thing I need. If I have that, no matter how their personalities are, it's going to be fucking amazing. And that's to say, you know, so far, you know, we had a couple of scrim days and the vibe is good. You know, the vibe is good. It's like, Wunder naturally makes jokes, Upset makes jokes, you know, Ivan also, good vibe, you know, Humanoid, good vibe. Everyone has just a good vibe, you know? It's like, this is a team with very experienced players. So they know the pitfalls of where you can waste energy and waste time and you know, build resentment, you know? So I'm very excited. Why do you always say grab any by the balls when you do a speech in front of them? I don't always say that. I really don't. It's in you know, my speeches are usually, I cater them depending on what I feel, the energy that my players are giving off to me. Like if I feel they're a little bit tense, I throw in a joke, you know, to just ease them up a bit. If I notice they're joking a bit too much, I become a little bit more serious. You know, it's just about, you know, trying to put them in the right state of mind coming into the game. And you know, grab them by the balls is more about, you know, something else. It's more like an in-game thing. It's like, you know, when someone is in a rough position, I want you to fucking grab them by the balls and fucking squeeze, you know, fucking put pain into them. Don't let them go, you know. It's more of like an in-game term. Can you tell us about Niski? Is he going to be a sub? We're not having any plans to utilize Niski directly. I think it's too difficult to... I don't think League works in a way where it's too easy to just implement a sub. For me, I know that Niski, you know, the best move for him is just to grind solo queue, to stream, to abuse the fact that everyone's scrimming and these players can't put their face out there the same way, and just put the pressure on every mid laner out there by just you know, elevating the opinion of the community and making sure that there's, you know, a lot of, you know, good footage of him playing the game. I wonder if I hope that maybe he goes to Korea. I'm sure. I think now in the beginning he's gonna stay in Europe and just stream and just play solo queue, and I think that's like, you know, there's opportunity in that. You never know how a year is gonna play out, right? You never know how a year is gonna play out. Things can happen, things can occur, and you know, opportunities will come. The best thing Niski can do is to prepare himself for those opportunities, you know. I think, I hope Deniski learns to be bold and brave in his approach to the game, because I think he is too much of a follower, because the issue with being a follower is that eventually you'll reach a point where you face the people that you follow, and how are you going to beat the players that you've tried to mimic, Did Niski also punch the table? No. Niski is a good dude. I wish him all the best. I truly do. And I will do what I can to help him, It's just the moment I've worked with the player, I see my commitment, like it's like a bond that I want to, hold dearly to me. For forever. When I look back at some of the players that I don't have contact with the same way today, it always saddens me, because it feels like somewhere along the line, we didn't get the most out of the relationship that we could have, So if I think of the people that I'm close to now, like I feel close to Hidi, feel close to Elias, like I still talk to Mickey, I still talk to Wunder, I still talk to Jizuke, Kabushad, Attila. Like I'm in touch with Nuktak. Sometimes I talk with Mithi, old teammates. It's like there's probably names that I'm forgetting, but there's definitely some names that leave a gap, and that's sad to me too, So Jensen as well. Still talk to Jensen. When we see each other, we know each other. But I guess that would be the case with everyone that I've worked with. It's like I don't I worked with Jankos and Vander, but I don't really stay in touch with them. The last time I talked with Vander was back in 2000, the end of 2019, because I wanted to join Rogue. I wanted to coach Rogue because I thought that roster was pretty damn good with Hansama and Vander and Inspired, and I thought they can do some serious damage with some good coaching behind them, So I was pushing to join Rogue. And this was quite some long time ago. The players over in Korea, it's like I haven't talked too much with them. I kept in touch with On Fleek and Fate and Joker and Becker, the owner, or not the owner, but one of the higher ups at Sandbox. But yeah. Do you think that the league esports scene should implement some form of system which would encourage the use of substitutes similar to other esports? Maybe this way Niski would be able to remain on Fnatic but not on the main roster. Well, what would be this system be? Like what kind of a system makes sense? It kind of doesn't, right? It kind of doesn't. I'm just gonna check the tweet that I tweeted when I announced I'm going to do the voice of Yamato and see what kind of replies there are. So Paul asks, what was the process of making roster decisions? Who is involved in what way? What was different to other teams you've worked with? Well, pretty much, as I understand it, Javier is, the decision maker. He needs to involve, the higher ups of Fnatic in his decision making process, and they of course give feedback. And my role in it is just I gave feedback on players, and I just say I feel strongly about this player, I feel strongly about this player. We need to get an upgrade over here. We need to make sure that we push for this player. If we get this player, we're going to this is going to move in a good direction. And I have a lot of information because I keep my ears to the ground, right? So I just try to leverage that as much as possible into making sure that I have a good roster. Some pieces of information as well that I find out I can't use because information flows and people trust me, right? But all in all, that's the process to some degree. What was it different to other teams you've worked with? No, it's pretty similar to other teams. In other teams that I work with, is like, here's a key to our house. Do whatever the fuck you want. I've been in that situation, and that's also pretty fucking nice, honestly. I enjoy that position. But in Fnatic is very involved, and in the end, Javi is making the decisions with the advice of many, me included. Mojo the Fnatic fan, so hyped for this roster. At first I wasn't sure about it, but after really thinking about it, it definitely has insane potential. Yeah, it does. It has crazy potential. It's like so many things, so many, crossroads happened during this off season where, you need a little bit of luck in off seasons with the way they played out, and I couldn't have been happier. Really, I couldn't have been happier. I wouldn't want to replace any player, I wouldn't want to. At the beginning, as the off season started, just for clarity's sake, as the off season started, in my mind, the players that would be like a good core to start building on would be Bwipo, Hilly, and Upset. That's what I saw. This is the foundation that we can look to build on, and maybe, together with these players, maybe look for potential upgrades, And then, of course, Bwipo, wanted to transfer to North America, and, you begin to look at other options, and then, the way it played out, I'm so fucking happy. Very happy. A lot of fans, me included, lost some faith given how great prospects we had as well before the incident. Is there anything you can say to comfort the Super Bowl fans after this tragedy? Well, I've said everything that I need to say and everything that I should say. I think we are at the point where, we're done singing. It's time to dance. We should just show, our moves. Were also other junglers considered? No. It's like, it was Razork right away. Denzi asks, are you excited to see what comes of Rookie and the Shy with a fresh start? I really am. I don't know how it's going to look like considering, there's some crazy ass top laners coming from China. Ale, Bin, Breathe, those names get me a little bit more excited than the Shy. And the Shy is still a fucking legend, I think this guy is absolutely crazy how good he is. And I just can't imagine where he's going to, fucking rise from the ashes and dominate these three that I just mentioned. So I am not super hyped about Weibo Gaming because I believe what Suning accomplished with that bin roster is just the peak of what they could have accomplished. I think LNG and Billy is crazy rosters. But let's continue with the questions here. Do you think Razak and Hilly can be strong enough sub-jung duo compared to the rest of the league? I think so, yeah. I think they can be the best jungle super duo in the league for sure. Okay, that's all the Twitter questions. Some orange juice. OJ. We did not try to sign Summit. What are the objectives you have this season? In my mind, if we don't win the league back to back, I am going to be very disappointed. If I don't win the league back to back this year, I will reconsider what I'm doing with my life. Like, it's about damn time. Like, I've worked with this game for 11 years and I don't have titles. I've won some shit tournaments here and there, but you know, I want to be able to look at that board and you know, I know it might sound ridiculous when I'm wearing 2 caps as a joke, but it's about damn time. Yeah. Did you consider signing Civ HD? Yeah. It just felt to me as Bushi Bushi and the Fnatic Bushi Bushi would just be a perfect match. Is everything okay with Razok's arm? He's looking to get better, yeah. It's improving. Do you look at the RL players? Any player who surprises you? Not sure. Are you excited for the top lane changes in the meta due to TP? Well, any changes to top lane, I'm very happy because I have Wunder. He's the most adaptable player you've ever seen. So I'm any top lane changes I welcome because this guy will figure it out. This guy will figure it out, man. What will make this roster stronger than the last one? What stands out to you as the biggest difference? I think we will have a lot more possibilities to play through different avenues than just through bottom side. I think we will be less reliant on big bot lane leads, which is something we did very, very well. But it turned out, you know, we did it in the end because nothing else, we couldn't really figure out anything else. And I think now, with this player gunpowder that we have, we are going to be able to, you know, play the game in multiple different manners. You know, a big issue of ours was, you know, when we couldn't get easy, you know, prior, or when our bot lane wasn't stronger necessarily, and they were playing champs that couldn't really dictate the pace of the game. When solo laners needed to do it in the mid to late game, we kind of struggled. Like when you're playing solo lane, you need to You need to be very, very crisp on how, oh, I'm going to push this wave, we're going to group on mid, we're going to take over the map. Like, it needs to be very, very clear. You need to lead the game. And that's why I like the names. Like Wunder was the go-to name, of course. And then the second on that list was Cabo, because I know these players can do this really, really fucking well. Mechanically, Wunder is really, really insane, and he knows how to lead the game through side, Are you looking forward to get a world skin after we win worlds? I think I need to win worlds a couple of times before it's relevant. I think Wunder as well, like Humanoid as well, very good in terms of knowing which waves to push, how to group on mid, how to take over the map. These things are so important. Like when you need to use side lane in order to create situations where you group, it's so important. Because in theory, this game is... If I was to describe this game right now, like what the meta is, or like what high elo gameplay is, or like what competitive play is grouping as 5 with losing as little as gold as possible. That's what League of Legends is. Group as 5 while losing as little gold as possible. And how you manage to set up your side lane waves is so important. A lot of people saying Humanoid have a short amount of champs to play. What do you think about that? How? Like what does he not play? Plays Ryze, plays TF, plays Victor, plays well, what does he not play? Orianna, plays Syndra, plays Corki, plays anything. Plays Lucian, like what plays Zoe. Like what do you want him to play? He plays Akali. Like he destroyed me on Akali. He destroyed me on so many different champs. Humanoid has destroyed me so many times. I got sick of it. I was like, Humanoid, please stop fisting me. It's time. Jonah Falcon, biggest penis in the world. Anyhow, someone asked me about the Kato situation. Well, without using Kato's situation, like let me talk on the situation with LEC, right? It's just the LEC. Imagine you're a farmer, okay? You're a farmer, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right? You just have this goose that lays golden eggs. You have a goose that lays golden eggs. You're like, holy moly. This goose that lays golden eggs is in my goose house, or wherever you keep your geese. There's two ideas there, right? There's the approach as a farmer to have the ego to say, yo, my farm is so damn good, and what I'm doing is so damn good that I'm producing golden eggs on my farm. Or the approach where the farmer is like, wow, I'm very fortunate to have this golden goose, that lays golden eggs in my farm. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this goose feels celebrated, that maybe other geese are gonna come along that lay golden eggs, and they're going to want to come into the organization. This goose needs to feel valued. LEC is more of the one, like the decision makers in the LEC are more of the position where, you know, we are so damn good. The LEC product is so damn good because of us, not because of the people that are actively there, you know? It's like, I worked in the LEC for half a year, right? One split, and the people on the ground are fucking insane at what they do, you know? Frosk was there, really good at what she does. Like, Verius is really fucking smart. Dracos is so fucking creative, it's unbelievable, you know? Like, Dracos is insanely talented. Like, this guy, he just has a mind that clicks the right way, you know? Definitely does. Shocks, best in the business, you know? Like, Shocks makes it so easy for anyone that comes along on the desk, you know? It's just that desk feels like home when you're there, you know? She just makes it so damn easy, you know? Medic also fucking insane. Like, the level that Medic has improved to and the matureness he has achieved is insane, you know? And that is also due to the same people, you know? The people that came along later were, you know, elevated forward due to the other people that were around, right? It's like, for me, the LEC is as good of a product as it is due to the people that are working there in you know, in the fucking pits. They are fucking putting in the work, you know? The face of the fucking product. But, as with everything, you know, everyone wants to take credit. Someone above them wants to take credit, and someone above them wants to take credit, you know? And in my mind, when you have people like this come along, you know, like Kadro, like Dracos, and the whole casting crew, they need to be valued and cherished. And working at the LEC, it's often that you don't feel cherished and celebrated. And mostly, the most fun part about it and the most beautiful part about it was working in that group of people, you know? That's like gorgeous. But all the politics aside and all the fucking bullshit, that's just frustrating. The amount you get paid, frustrating, fucking pain, you know? And I hope that the decision makers in the LEC realize that there are some people that are not replaceable. They are just not replaceable. And I see this so often. This happens in any line of work. It really does. It happens in any line of work. But I assure you, without these fucking brilliant people that are working on the ground, you know, like Quick Shots and Shocks and Kadro, you know, it's just, they're giving back to each other, you know? It's like, Kadro's fucking fantastic, but he came into a group that also enabled that, you know? And Kadro fucking captured lightning in a bottle, you know? And to be now in a position, it's just, when I was there and I was working there, I always wished that the LEC casters would see how fucking good they are at what they do. I always wish that they saw how fucking good they are at what they do. And because in the end, if you see, if someone else doesn't value you, you know, if someone else doesn't value you, you need to value yourself. You need to understand your own value, you know? Because imagine in a world where the whole LEC cast just stood up and left. You know what kind of a fucking hole that would leave? It would be insane what kind of a hole that would leave. So they need to understand that they have a lot of power, you know? But it's so easy to just move towards comfort, you know? It's like, oh, I can live on this. I'll just accept it for what it is, and I'll have, you know, a nice job. And you say they know it, but the LEC doesn't know it. But all in all, you know, my experience working in the LEC, the people on the ground, the staff, like the talent, and like the producers that you work close to, like Kevin and and Depa, and I'm blanking on another name. Brett, the producers that are on the ground, super fucking good, We have, the script writer, it's fucking good, The people on the ground that you interact with, fucking good. Now that you're talking about casters, thoughts on Captain Flowers? He's a legend, man. He has a way with words, man. He's just beautiful how articulate he gets and how rarely he reuses words. Like, this guy always thinks of new sentences. It's like every time there's a new sentence coming out of his mouth. It's insane. Yeah, it happens everywhere, Bashi. It happens everywhere where the people that are making things move forward are not being valued. They are not. And in that process, there's always about 15 people that want to take credit for something one person did. It's just a pyramid of who is stroking their own ego the most. It's like, the correct approach is understand the value of certain people, make them feel valued, and in that you will attract more people that are going to be very valuable. Yeah. How can I be so masculine like you? Just be honest. Be impeccable with your word. Be precise in your language. If you are always honest and you're precise in your language, you will be confident in what you say. And if you're confident in what you say, everything else comes after. Get some sunlight on your scrotum for testosterone boost. I've read about that too, honestly, to tan your balls. But I just don't understand how would you go about it. I'm not gonna just fucking show my testicles on the balcony or some shit, It's just like, how on earth do you get yourself to that position? Giga Chad, do it. Gotta do what you gotta do. Go to some house in a mountain. Favorite food in Berlin? Like, you mean as a favorite food or favorite restaurant in Berlin? Shaves is a goddamn legend, Like, for me, Shaves is one of those guys where I want to work with together. And I see myself as the head coach. It's important for me to make sure that people feel valued, and that they're on a path of progress, and that we're in a world where he feels like he's moving forward and what he does is valued. It's Shaves is a goddamn legend. He works remotely, but he puts in so much effort, so much work. He shares my love for the game, and I can always talk to him. We're learning things from one another, and I love Shaves. I love Shaves. I really, really love Shaves. I like Shaves is one of those people where I would be ready to work with him for the rest of my life. You know, I don't think. Yeah, we would just be so. You know, the situation would be so difficult without him. You know, in this year. You know the work he put in summer because he was not with us in spring. It was insane. Yeah, Upset is gonna start in spring. There's no issues anymore. Do you feel that a player like Upset takes more attention and maintenance than average? No, really not. Like, this guy just wants to win. It's the same when everyone says, "Yo, Uzi needs resources and so forth." No, Uzi gets resources because teams with Uzi realize that's the best fucking chance for you to win the game. Has nothing to do with anything else, really. Tolkien is not going to be working with us coming into next year. Boom, boom, sail away, sail away, sail away, sail away, sail away, sail away. Are you confident in getting Wonder back to form? I'm very confident he's going to get back to form. No problem at all. I'm very confident. Is the humanoid contract still pending from Riot's side? There's some situation going on. I don't know how to explain it without walking into a minefield, so I'll just leave it at that. There was mention of not being allowed to film league content in the team presentation stream. Any chance to elaborate on that? As far as I understand, we're not allowed to fucking do league-related content or some shit. Like, it's fucking weird. I don't know what it is. I don't think you're allowed to do league content that's sponsored or something like that. Like, it's silly. Shaves is still working with Fnatic, yes. Shaves is a beast. Love me some Shaves. So Shaves is just very good at understanding, like he just has very good game understanding, and is just very in love with the game. So he always tries to figure out the next best strategy, and he has his ear close to the ground, talks to a lot of people, and is constantly on the cusp of finding the next big thing. Like he saw many champs and many builds before anyone else did. Has good understanding of how games are being won, and me and him on a game knowledge level in terms of how we believe the game is supposed to be played. We agree. We believe in like minimal risk taking, hovering, making sure that you build vision, and that you set up correctly, and that you minimize the opportunity for the enemy team. And this is how good League of Legends is played. It's like secure yourself from defeat, and eventually the win will be given to you by the enemy, right? And just me and Shaves were just on the same wavelength on so many things. What do you think about the preseason changes? I feel like this is the weakest off-season in terms of changes that we've probably ever seen. Like, we have 2 new souls, but that's just gonna affect like a certain percentage of the games, and that isn't enough for me to say this is gonna be a completely new year. The jungle changes aren't that big either. I think it does invite some different junglers that are very strong at clearing to 315 and being ready for crab. But all in all, I think we're going to see a lot of the same that we saw in this year, and I'm worried because maybe a stagnation in the game in terms of what can be done is dangerous for the game, because I believe that the last 3 seasons have been very similar. It's like Damwon won Worlds, and a lot of things that Damwon did still apply coming into the next year. And I don't know if they could do like some crazy ass shit. Like imagine they just remove Flash from the game. Like let's say we are going to remove Flash from the game, and then just see what happens. Like that would be very interesting. Like what would happen if there's no Flash in the game? Just throw chaos into it. I don't know. Everything is balanced around Flash, right? But it would change the meta completely, right? The idea of how people perceive the game would just change completely. Assassin will be meta, maybe not. Maybe everyone just fucking runs around with 5 exhausts, you know? It's just, I'm not saying that's the right way, but it's just the element of craziness, the element of craziness and so forth that is inherently very exciting. Mythic's preseason was decent. Yes, it was exciting and it was new, but now it's settled really quick because inherently, in terms of how we play the game, it didn't change too much, right? The game was being played the same. What about a new form of damage? I think that's a bit too deep. I think you went off a whole. You went in Zimbabwe, man. I think you went too far on the creativity. How will the new dragons impact pro play? Do you have any insight yet? Like the maps are, like stat wise, the drakes are very good, very broken. Yeah. The souls are also very broken, but like the maps are also kind of strange. I haven't seen enough of what you can do with the portals to give you like a good idea, but it feels like those portals are significant enough to change the fabric about in terms of how the game is going to be played on those specific maps. I think also Chemtech, the Chemtech Soul map is indeed pretty polarizing in terms of just being in a better position means it's very strange, very strange. What do you think is the strongest side of this roster? Will it still be bot? I think we have strong enough players in each position to accommodate any meta. And that's where you want to be. I don't think we're going to be a bot-centric team or a mid-centric team or top-centric team. We don't need to commit into anything. The game will lead our path. Will objective bounties push late game hypercarries into more prevalence in pro play? No. It's still tied to what is going on in your lane is still too important to forgive. You can't necessarily just pick late game scaling and hope that you're going to have objective bounties, because if the enemy has control over the map, means they're going to maintain tempo over you, and as long as they, space out the objectives well, and they never commit to a map trade, those objective bounties are not going to be, there for you to take. The only reason, guys, that we played around bot so heavily is because we had the highest chance of winning playing around bot. It's always a twisted thing when people view a team as like, yeah, this team only plays around bot. But usually it's not because there's some ego thing, or it's like, yeah, the only way I can play is if you gank bot. No, it was just, if we want to win the game with the highest possibility, we would play through bot, we would unleash Hilly, we would get upset ahead, and we would have some smooth sailing, So in the context of our team, we just had the highest chances of winning when we played through bot. And Niski and Adam tried their best to adapt to that. How much does remote play affect your players' performance or mental, or your role as a coach? For me, honestly, it was very difficult to deal with, because in a lot of the games, I couldn't hear my players. I was watching the games on a delay. Sometimes I was entering the room and I'm like, did we win? Did we lose? I don't know. It was ridiculous, honestly. And the fact that I don't get to listen to my players was just so bad. Like, I don't know what I needed to be for my players when they came out of that room, because I would like to listen in and understand their state of mind, how they're doing, how they're feeling, so I can be the coach that I need to be when they come out of that room. And not being able to listen to them, or not knowing what's going on in the game was inherently hard. It's also strange to get in the right mindset in that type of environment. But all in all, you figure it out eventually. Time is flying, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start very soon with the LEC, 14th of January. Unforgiven is not forgiven. Found Bubble's pathing quite interesting. Usually it was straight up 2 full clears into bot. You already explained the bot part, but why the 2 full clears? I don't think that's necessarily true, that was a trend that we were doing. It's just in some games, it's like you path into bot, take your Krabby, put down a ward, base, and then you path into bot again, and usually around that time. So basically, the game is divided into sequences, right? So it's 3:15 is like the first most significant point. It could be a little bit earlier, because sometimes, like on Cannon Wave, 3 waves get stacked and there's a dive. So you could argue that the first significant point is like around the first cannon crash. You can stack 4 waves or 3 waves into dive, which means that the jungler takes 3 camps into dive, into Krabby after. So that's around like 250, 245. The first dive happens. 3:15 is crab, right? So basically, most junglers they can full clear 3:15 into crab, and those who can't usually like full clear 5 camps into crab, into golems, and then after crab they put down a ward. Like let's say you're playing Kiana, you do 5 camps, you do blue, Gromp, Wolf, Raptor, Red into crab, and then after crab you do golems, which puts you a little bit slower on tempo-wise than other junglers because they can already base, but there is a little bit of a grace period because after the jungle spawn time was changed, which was quite some time ago, it was between spring and summer to change the spawn camp time, the window you have after you full clear is a little bit larger, right? You have maybe like 20 seconds more than you used to have, because in the past, you remember in spring it was mostly Udyr full clearing, he full clears, and then by the time you take your crab, your base, your Gromp is already spawning, and then if Udyr was playing against a player or against a jungler that was 5 camp into a crab into 6 camp, usually the Udyr player could invade on Raptor, or he could invade on Gromp, right? Because he's so much quicker. And all in all, the first significant point is 315. Then after the second clear, the next significant point is the 530 cannon wave that comes. Usually this is where either top or mid wants to contest heavily because you compete for level 6, right? You compete for level 6. So you can use that level 6 swing, the advantage of having level 6, which of course in some cases maybe your mid laner TP'd bot and he got a kill and maybe has more XP than usual, something happened. So maybe 530 isn't when you get level 6, it can definitely change, but 530 is usually the wave that you get level 6. It's wave 9 into 10, right? And you can contest level 6, so that's usually happens. So let's say you full clear, base, your Gromp spawns, like the Kiana does full clear into Golem, base, Gromp spawns, Wolf spawns, and then already as you walk into River and you walk towards your Raptor, this is like the 5-minute mark because your Gromp starts to respawn around 4-minute mark, right? So 5:30, significant timer, and then usually you leverage that timer into maybe a bot dive, or maybe you leverage that timer into a into a dragon, which is usually the case. It's very systematic, 5:30, 6-minute timer. And then let's say we pattern the bottom side, they crash the wave with dove, usually the wave bounces, and then you full clear on the bottom again, and then at the 5:30 timer, you're going to be stacking wave bot again, which is a very common occurrence. You walk into mid, get your level 6 of your mid laner, step into bottom side, boom, your bot lane is stacking another wave. Maybe you threaten dive, maybe you don't, you suffocate them out, and then if the enemy jungle defends, maybe you leverage that into a dragon, maybe you don't, and then you continue. You get your level 6 on jungle, because maybe you get another scuttle, and you take your golems, your raptors after you got to your 6, and then all is good. And then you repeat. You base, you go Gromp, you step in the bottom side, 7:30, you want to make sure that your bottom bases, they base, open through mid, you're on the Rift Herald, and so forth. It's quite systematic, right? There's key moments in the game, key waves in the game that you need to pay attention to if you are looking at pro play. Like basically, if you look at pro play, the early game is 2:30. Is anyone stacking wave? Is anyone in dive position? Or did someone level 2 gank? That's also something that can happen, right? Level 2 gank. 3 camp to gank, that can happen too. Of course, there's a little bit of variance because players can make decisions, but most of the time it's like 2:30. Is there any wave that is getting stacked? Is it jungle diving? Is there opportunity to invade because maybe there's that wave that you're stacking, the enemy jungle is defending, and then maybe you can look to invade, you can look to clap them at blue, you can look to destroy them at Gromp. And then the next time is 3:15, the crabs. Are you going to be able to double crab? Is it a match situation? Is it unmatch, mismatch? Are people just pathing in different directions? And then the next significant time is usually, 5:30, that the wave that's coming that reaches you to level 6. You translate that into a 6-minute dragon. Very common. Sometimes not, because drakes are some drakes are very tough to kill, right? Like killing Ocean Drake. Like if you start hitting Ocean Drake and the enemy reacts, even if you have prio, they clear a wave and walk into there, you can get completely fucked, right? You can get completely annihilated. But usually teams have enough of an understanding of where junglers can and cannot be, especially in a mismatch situation where teams basically you get another ward at 4 minutes as a jungler. You full clear, take the crab, walk in the enemy jungle, place your ward, base. Right? You guys have seen this so many times. This has happened so many times. It's more common now after they changed the jungle between spring and summer. But I realize I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just talking about random stuff. Yeah, vision is very OP because basically as a strong point in the game, if you are the only strong point in the game, in a lot of cases trying to build your own advantage is not going to win you the game. It is good to try to extend your advantage to a certain point where you feel ready to carry the game, but as a strong point in the game, you need to make sure that everyone can play the game. So let's say as a top laner, a lot of people think the top lane is such an island I can't carry games. It's because you are refusing to leave. It's like you are on an island, but the mainland is the water is very shallow. Yeah, you can walk there. Like the river water is not deep at all. You're not gonna drown. So as the top laner that is very strong, I can push. Instead of looking to like freeze and fuck with the enemy top lane, I need to make sure that my mid laner and my bot lane is then able to play the game. So let's say I stack a wave, I crash it, I put down wards. I put a ward on enemy golems, enemy raptors too. Let's say I took a big leap around. Me spotting the enemy jungle there or not spotting him gives my team so much information. If the enemy jungle shows there, it means that maybe a bot lane that thought they were going to get dove are not getting dove, they're not getting ganked, they're able to push out. Maybe the jungle is going to be able to breathe, he's going to be able to, take his jungle camps without any issues. You can, as the top laner, you can be on the mid wave, right? Let's say you want to prevent a bottom dive. You push in top, you step into mid, the next top wave is already coming, but the mid wave is coming too. You're hovering into mid, and your mid laner that is so weak is able to push that wave and then hover into bottom side. Just because you decided to not play for your own ego, not play for your own advantage, and you walk down into mid, you sacrifice a CS or two, or maybe sometimes even 6 CS for you to step down and to, smash it, and go into top mid. And that's like a very simple way of explaining the transfer of pressure. Hovering is so broken. It's so OP to hover. It's like you can have so much impact on the map in any role if you choose to do so. Like I, as a top laner, right? I can leave top completely and I can just go lane bot. Let's say I'm Jace. I just fire EQs at the enemy bot lane and they can't do anything, right? The enemy bot lane can't pressure and maybe the enemy top laner is going to push, going to take a plating, maybe take 6 CS, I lose 12 CS, 18 CS, it adds up. But of course you're paying a price to do it, but sometimes paying that price is the best thing you can do because sometimes those minions are not going to be enough for you to do anything significant in the game. That's why you so often you see post 25-minute mark, everyone has 3 items. You no longer give a shit about siding. You just fucking walk on mid. You're strong enough. You already have all your items. Minions don't fucking matter anymore. You just fucking group and you go, right? Yeah, Silas is pretty int. To be Tamkench, I don't know, I'll play like Dr. Mundo, maybe I'll play Ornn. I'll play like maybe Fiora, Camille, play maybe Vayne, Action, I don't know, maybe not Action. But nevertheless, I think that's enough for today's episode of The Voice of Yamato. I appreciate all of you. I said today I'm going to look at one of the old Faker games. All in all, I'll probably look to do that tomorrow. I want to review all of the significant games of Faker in his history. So I want to start off with his Nidalee game against Ambition, where he completely stomped him. I want to start there, and then I want to, go through the Faker saga, because I think it's important to document, and maybe there's, pieces of information that we can learn. I think it will be a lot of fun. I'm very excited. As a final part of the stream, I just want to give you guys my codes. Let's take a look. Let's take a trip. Riot codes. Your League of Legends codes are out here now. EA Sports. It's in the game. Alright. So I'm gonna ask you guys to join the Discord because it's just easier to get it done. You guys get the special treatment. Copy. So just join my Discord here, and I'll post all of the skin codes in general in about 3 minutes. So just join the Discord. Join the Discord, my friends, and I'll give you guys some codes. I'll give you guys some mother flipping codes. Take care, Gonchi. Are you on the Discord often? Yeah, sure. Is there any for you know the keys? Yes, there are. Yeah, of course. Everyone is welcome to look to grab a skin. So I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds and then I'm gonna post it. It's gonna be in general, right? Alright guys, I'm gonna count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stream delay, and it would doom. Bard is hard. And some more. Alright, thanks so much for watching. If you sneeze during this broadcast or during this video, bless you and bless your face. I'll catch you guys on the flippity flap. Tomorrow we are going to eat a pig whole. Bye bye.